Good morning. So welcome to our inaugural conference. This is the first of several that we will have in a format which we've designed for our community. I hope that most of you who were here yesterday, or all of you who were here yesterday, enjoyed the masterclasses and the dinner. Just to kick things off, we've got to go through a few boring things, and it's called housekeeping. So just to kick things off, we have the usual disclaimer. No, you can't read it, so it's a typical contract that you'd find in any insurance policy, but the lawyers insist on it. But if you really want a copy, we can give you one later on. Second thing is to do with smoking. So the smoking of cigarettes, cigars, vapes, and wizard pipes is not permitted in the auditorium. Please note, Petra. And the toilets are exactly where you'd expect them to be. There are some signs, but they're in the corridors. But in the event of a fire, please do not do what these goats are doing. Please follow instructions from the event team, and they'll point you in the right direction. Your mobile phones, please keep them on. Contrary to a lot of conferences, we want you to keep them on because we do have an application which we'll be using later. It's called Buzzmaster. Some of you have already had a pop at using it, but our Mr. Buzzy over there will explain how to use it a little bit later on. But it provides an opportunity for us to get some engagement going, and we'll be doing some polling and the like. We've also got something called a catch box, which is a microphone that I will throw at you when you have a question to ask. But don't worry, it's padded, and I'll give you more instructions on that later. So, many of you here probably attended our conference last year, the Autumn Summit in Munich. I'm just intrigued to know how many of you that are here today were actually there last year. So if you could do nothing more than put your hand up. So that's probably about 20%. So for the rest of you, it's a surprise. At that time, we updated you on progress with our product development for the CAD XOL product. We also showed you a little bit of insight into our roadmap. And we had a survey which we did with our market testers. Now, Sylvan's going to talk a little bit more about the roadmap later on, so I'm not going to cover that. But basically, what we talked about then was the culmination of our development at that point. Now, there's quite a big difference between then and today. And Paul, a little bit later on, is going to share his insights into what we've been up to and what you can look forward to going forward. We've also got a glorious set of speakers who are going to share some other insights with you later on. And this afternoon we're going to have some workshops which are a little bit shorter than the masterclasses we had yesterday. They lasted about 3 hours. We thought that would be quite tortuous, but actually the time seemed to fly, so there was clearly quite a lot of engagement there. The workshops this afternoon will be shorter versions of those, just 1 hour. And I'll just point out that you can go to a different one. You may have enjoyed yesterday's masterclass a lot, but you don't have to repeat it today. In fact, it's probably quite a good idea if you went and watched another one. So just coming back to today, we're in quite a historic building. This is really quite a monument of significance in Amsterdam, or so the blurb says. Before I talk a little bit about that, just a few facts about this city. You always have to do facts. As you probably noticed, there's a lot of water around Amsterdam. In fact, the city has, according to Mark Simpson, 1,753 bridges. That's probably quite a good thing, given the amount of water there is. But it also has 850,000 residents, and 847,000 bicycles. So that's almost a 1-for-1 ratio. But probably the more interesting thing is that about 15,000 bicycles are fished out of the canals, with or without the riders, every year. And what about this building? Well, this building has quite a rich history. It was a vocational school. As you've probably noticed as you walk around, I think one of the first comments that Paul made yesterday is, this looks a little bit like a school, Ken. I say, well, yes, it was a school, Paul. It's a place where young people came to study new crafts. Now, construction on this building started on the 31st of October 1919. That's almost 100 years ago. And it was actually completed in 1925. It was known as the Fourth Craft School, and it officially opened then. And this school gave a place for young people to come and learn about new things such as carpentry, metalworking, forging, electrical engineering, and instrument crafting. I'm still got to work out what instrument crafting is, but Marcus can probably tell me later. So it provided a place for people to learn and experiment and collaborate with new technologies. So I'm now going to introduce you to a couple of people. So on the left is Frank, and on the right is Eric. And there's probably about 100 years between them. And yet, their contributions to the world are very much in parallel. Frank was a student here, and he learned his new trade in metalworking and forging steel. Frank then went on to have a very successful career building bridges. What better place to do it than Amsterdam? So Frank went on to build bridges like this, and these bridges enabled commerce to flow more fluidly, more safely, and more securely. He was a pioneer in his day, and he went on to do very, very great things for the economy, in designing and building bridges and buildings and roads. And his efforts have been recognized. No, he's not here today, won't worry. His efforts have been recognized in numerous awards for using these new techniques and these new innovations. So in fact, Amsterdam and we probably owe quite a lot to Frank. So moving on to Eric. Now Eric, on the other hand, is very much someone from today. He's a software developer. He spends his time working and creating software applications. In a similar way to Frank, he builds bridges. These bridges enable transactions to flow more fluidly and more safely and more securely. So Eric is really a picture of what the future holds. His work in developing applications using blockchain technology will have a big impact on how we do business in the future. So you do need a bit of a vision to realize this, of what Eric can do and what sort of influence he will have. And it's the sort of vision that we have in B3i. And yes, this is the pitch. Okay. So the relevance of us being here in this very historic place very much reflects the spirit we have in B3i and the way that we are looking about harnessing the capabilities of blockchain and DLT to benefit the market and to benefit the economy and to benefit the world. So this ambition is indeed grounded in our vision, which is really to accelerate, to catalyze the world's transition to a more relevant and affordable insurance. So you can recall perhaps last year in Munich when I said that we were very much making history. So I hope that by the end of today, you will see this and it will resonate with you, that this is truly the case, and we will continue to make history by bringing together the market, truly innovative solutions using blockchain. So this can really only be done effectively by the market, for the market, with people like you. It's all about relying on the value of a growing community to achieve those aims.